I'm doing a video. Wave. Alright, you ready? Hey, I'm Crystal.
I'm Nick.
And this is our bus build. So for our first few YouTube videos, we've decided to do them as a voiceover. One, because we've already filmed all of this footage on our iPhones, and two, because it makes it a lot easier to explain what's going on. So please bear with us. Some of this footage isn't the best, but it's the best I can do with what we have already filmed. And the rest of our videos from where we're up to in the bus build will be filmed much better than this, I promise. So anyway, let's get started. So our bus is a 2004 model Toyota Coaster. It's a long wheelbase. We purchased it from a private seller in Newcastle, where we're from. When we bought the bus, it had 19 seats in it. It was used by a business in aged care, so it was used to transport the elderly to and from days out and things like that. When we got the bus, it was completely filthy. It had actually been sitting in one spot for over a year, so it had a lot of black. We actually aren't too sure what it was on the roof, but it was covered in all this black stuff, so we had to wash it all down. It also had a fair bit of rust as well, which is pretty common in these buses, especially around the windscreen area. So we had to take it to a panel beater who fixed all of that up. They actually took the windscreen out, cut all of the rust out and put the windscreen back in, and then they also got rid of some rust around the back area as well. When we picked the bus up from the panel beater, it literally looked brand new. They did a lot more on it than they were supposed to and didn't charge us any extra, which is amazing, so we're very thankful for that. From then we pretty much straight away started stripping the bus out, so we had to rip all of the seats out, which took me an entire day just to get all the bolts out. The bolts are really tightly put in. After that, we had to remove the heater. These buses sometimes have two heaters in them. Ours only had one, thank God, because it was a bit of a pain to remove. We actually had to unbolt it. The bolts went through the floor. Once you've removed it, there's a couple of hoses that need to be joined together where the radiator fluid runs. After we had done this, we had to join them back up together. So Nick got underneath the bus and pulled the hose out and got absolutely covered in fluid, which was pretty disgusting. And then from there, it was just joining the two hoses together and putting clamps on them so that the fluid just kind of circulates back through. From then, we were pretty much at a standstill for a little while because we discovered leaks in the bus. There was water coming in through the windows, there was water coming in through the tail light at the back, especially around the wheelchair door. We've noticed that there was quite a big gap. It was almost like the seal or something wasn't in properly. So we put towels down and it was still coming in all around the lock on the wheelchair door, and we just couldn't stop it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was panicking. So what we ended up doing was we got this Soodle T-Rex. We kind of built out where the metal was so that the seal would stick out a bit more and cover the gap. After that, we started removing the wheelchair lift. We had to get someone to help us lift it out. We actually got the man who bought it off us. It was super heavy, so it took us 4 people to get it out of the bus. The next thing we did was remove the roof area and all of the insulation that was already in the roof. It was so hard to get out. It has this really sticky stuff on it, and it's near impossible to get all of it out. Like, I think it would literally take us like a week or more. So we gave up and decided we're just going to insulate over the top of it. So our next task was removing the plywood from the rear of the bus. With the leaking issues, there was a lot of dampness and molds in the outer parts of the plywood. We also planned on removing the wheelchair tracks as well. However, this turned out to be one of the most tedious tasks, so we ended up giving up and just decided to relay fresh plywood down to keep the floor level in that area, because if we just removed all of the plywood altogether and left the wheelchair tracks, you'd just have these wheelchair tracks sort of protruding out of the ground. whereas if we replace the plywood, it keeps that base area underneath the bed flush.
Thanks so much for watching.
If you'd like to see more, subscribe or follow on our Instagram and TikTok links below.